I'm from OKTA. I'm going to start with the question. Hands up who wants to see more slides. No? We're done? Are you on more slides?
If we've got pretty pictures of cats and little cats doing things or runs.
Okay, so I'll trade you, 15 to 20 minutes of slides for a very quick video and then a live demo. Does that sound like over? Okay.
The way we work has changed. People need to work anywhere, anytime, and from any device. Your employees need simple and secure access to their apps. And with today's extended enterprise, it's not just your employees, but also your contractors, partners, suppliers, and customers. And while many of your apps are still on-premise, a growing number have moved to the cloud or are native apps on tablets and smartphones. Enter OKTA, an enterprise-grade identity management service delivered with an unwavering focus on customer success. With OKTA, you can securely and efficiently manage access to all of your applications, for all of your people, and from all of their devices. OKTA makes your identity problems their problems and solves them. With OKTA's single sign-on from any device, users can access their applications securely without struggling with countless usernames and passwords. For IT, OKTA provides a central place to manage directory services, provisioning, workflow, reporting, and more. The OKTA application network includes thousands of pre-integrated cloud and web apps, including Office 365, Oracle E-Business, Box, Google Apps, SAP, Salesforce, and Workday. All the apps you'll need today and in the future. And if you want to integrate your own apps, OKTA also provides tools that make it quick and easy. OKTA lets you create application access policies based on group membership, device type, physical location, or IP range. You can also use OKTA's built-in multi-factor authentication or easily connect OKTA to MFA solutions like RSA and VeriSign. When employees join or leave your company, OKTA automatically provisions and deprovisions their apps. User changes can be made in Active Directory or in HR systems like Workday, and OKTA does the rest. OKTA has out-of-the-box solutions for connecting your apps to directories and HR systems, increasing security and reducing IT costs. OKTA not only integrates with AD and LDAP user stores, but it also connects with on-premise identity management suites from vendors like CA, Oracle, and IBM. OKTA integrates everywhere and provides a seamless transition from legacy identity software to a modern identity service. Built in the cloud, OKTA excels at managing identities for users outside your firewall. APIs and customization options make OKTA a perfect fit for powering customer and partner portals that are quick and easy to deploy. OKTA is a secure, reliable, and trustworthy service. No software to maintain, no hardware to manage. Enterprises everywhere count on OKTA every day to increase security, to make their employees, customers, and partners more productive, and to make their IT teams more efficient. OKTA, enterprise identity delivered. Start a free trial today or contact us to learn more.
So thank you. OKTA is actually a scientific measure of cloud cover, and if you see that little buzzword there is enterprise identity delivered, it wasn't always that. One day a few years ago it was actually your cloud covered. So it's sort of a pun on the words there. A little bit of background. Now, I've promised you a live demo, so let's jump straight into that. What you're looking at up there right now is the OKTA dashboard. So this is the brand new user experience that we can roll out to all of your employees, all of your partners, all of your contingent workers. When Robert had that slide up at the beginning of the new world, with the fragmented application ecosystem, the native apps, the cloud apps, the on-prem apps, plus the new diverse workforce of the contingent workers, the temporary contractors, the full-time employees, and delivering all that as a service without necessarily having to run a really long-running IT project. As we did in the old world, when we looked at that first slide from Rob with the old world on the left-hand side, that very much had single type of application deployed on-prem, single user that was behind the firewall, and the identity and access management solutions that address that problem don't necessarily address the new world problem today, where we have that highly complex environment that's moving very quickly. So that's where the dashboard comes in. these icons, we've got over 4,000 of them. So that's pre-integrated applications that you don't need to maintain. So all that operational cost of updating those connections, onboarding the applications, Okta maintains that for you. So if Box changes its API, we remediate that, we fix that, we own the OpEx related to that. And it's fixed for every single one of our customers. We're a true multi-tenanted SaaS app, so we're delivering you an identity service. That up to now would have required about 4 vendors to deliver you multi-factor authentication, cloud directory, single sign-on provisioning, and mobility management. So you can get that all in one place now. And Okta's mission statement, if you like, is to really connect all the users with all the apps on any of the devices. So this dashboard that you're seeing here, we can also have that on tablets, iOS or Android devices. You can even have it down on the phone. And the way that we get to this dashboard is different depending on what device. For example, on the phone, we would just use a PIN, 4-digit PIN to get to it. And what we'll get to a little bit later in the live demo is showing the on-premise use case. So if you're actually sitting at the machine behind the firewall in that old world environment, you get integrated Windows authentication to this dashboard. You wouldn't need to put a username and password in. If you're coming in from home, we'd evaluate that sign-on policy and ask you to have some additional factor authentication, like a SMS or RSA Secure ID or a Google Authenticator or an Okta Verify token, so a SOC token of some sort. So providing you that anytime access that really all the employees are demanding out today to do their jobs, especially highly mobile people. So this is a consumer grade UI. It's very, very easy to use. You can see I've got Office 365, some Office 365 apps up here that I'm moving my mouse over. And for example, if I wasn't using OneDrive, if I was using a different app for that collaboration, I could just move that out to a different tab. It's very easy to use. There's literally no end user training here. Any business user can get a link to the dashboard, even have it set as their homepage in IE on their standard operating environment. Anytime access to it, and then just click on the app to go in. So there's no training there, and when you onboard a new app, we can just have a display on the dashboard, so you don't necessarily need to send them a link in an email with the username and password, so you get that really nice user experience. So changing gears, we'll have a look at behind the scenes. So we only have 2 UIs. We've got the end user UI that we're looking at now, and we have an administrative UI. So let's have a look at the administrative. And the first thing that we'll look at is Active Directory. So we'll just drill into people and directories. Because is there anyone here that doesn't have Active Directory? So what we've found is pretty much every enterprise in our region has Active Directory. It's a very common directory. And what customers are doing with that directory now is needing to cloud federate it because they're adopting more and more cloud applications. So I'm going to show you right now how easy it is to cloud federate your existing on-premise AD without having to stand up a large IT project. We just go to Add Directory, Add Active Directory, and then this is the process. This is the architecture. This is the new world architecture. The easy way to cloud federate Active Directory. You can see Active Directory is on the right over here. Your existing domain controllers. We deploy normally at least 2 lightweight AD agents. They're 1 megabyte in size, and they do not accept any inbound connectivity. So we're not opening firewall ports here. We're not generating certificates and requiring load balances or anything like that. It's connecting from inside the network. It's proxy aware. It can go out over your web proxies and connect up to Okta. So in that one picture, we've cloud federated your AD. So now Okta has already got those 4,000 connections that we talked about on the left over here, and we can cloud federate to any of those applications that you have outside your network. So that's very much the conduit to go to the cloud. The new world architecture to go to the cloud very, very rapidly. So in a pilot or something like that, I can absolutely do that for you in 1 hour. All we need is a Windows machine that's on the domain. We can load the agent. It's running read-only. It's running as a domain user. It's not doing any write operations against AD. You are completely in control of what data Okta stores. You can have it store just username, first name, last name, or you can have it store the whole AD schema. Totally up to you. There's pros and cons, and we'll take you through that. So that is the very first step to going to the cloud, is to cloud federate your AD, and it's extremely easy with this new world architecture. So we're not changing your network posture in any way. We're not having any inbound connectivity. So most of the other solutions in this space would require you to put machines in DMZ, accept inbound TCP connections, and obviously you're going to have to continually patch and update those machines, and then you're on the connected treadmill as well, where you're continually updating those connections. So that's the very first step, and as I said, more than happy to prove it out to you in 1 hour for a demo or something like that. The next step about going to the cloud is onboarding applications, and by far our most popular application is Office 365. So I'll take you through what onboarding Office 365 looks like in the Okta world. So we've already done the hard work for you. So let's click on Applications and click Add Application. Now I'm going to type in Office. Sorry. I'm on a different time zone. So Microsoft Office 365. That little Okta verified under there means that we will operationally maintain that connection for you, so that you're unburdened from that responsibility. So really there's 3 key things to onboarding Office 365. It's telling Okta where your tenant is, what your tenant is in Office 365, working out how you want to sign on to it, and then work out whether you want to do provisioning or not. So really you put in the tenant name here, you put in your company's domain. You obviously need to have the pre-step done with the AD agent. You work out really everything else is cosmetic now on the screen, what icons you want to display and things like that. And then click Next. We absolutely can help with seat utilization and things like that. I'm sort of skipping over a lot of this to try and fit into the 20 minutes. The next step, once we identify which tenant you're connecting to, we work out what sign-on technology we want to use. So Microsoft recommends WS Federation, so we support that. Just click the checkbox. And then at this point, we're going to dynamically build you a wiki page of instructions. So very much we've commoditized the onboarding of these applications. You don't need to have a subject matter expert that understands WS Federation. So we've taken a step up from that. So we're not interacting at the standard level. So we click View Setup Instructions. And it will very much take you through it step by step what you need to do for Office 365. It will, for example, if your domain's unfederated, it will build you the command that you need to run in PowerShell. You literally paste that in. For the certificate, everything has been pre-built for you. It's very straightforward to onboard. Once we have configured the way that we want users to sign on, we click Next, and then optionally configure provisioning. This would be, the alternative way to do this is with DirSync. You can absolutely still use DirSync, you don't need to use this. This is optional. If you wanted to enable it, the way that we connect to Microsoft Office 365 is via the APIs, so you need to put some credentials in there, then basically turn on what functionality you want. You're going to start off by importing your existing Office 365 users if you've got some there. You've imported your AD users, you match them up, correlate the accounts, and then turn on what sort of functionality you want. Do you want to create new users? Do you want to update users so we can keep attributes and things like that in sync between 0AD and your on-premise AD? So what this is doing is extending your existing on-premise directory to the cloud, not just for Office 365, but for all those other 4,000 applications out there. So your existing processes that you have to add a user to AD can stay in place. Your existing process to add a user to a group in AD for authorization to applications can stay in place. So we can leverage those AD groups to work out who gets access to Office 365, what type of access they get in Office 365, what license you want to assign to them in Office 365. And we can do that for all the other cloud applications as well. And at that point, you're done with onboarding Office 365. Like I said, this is only the identity component of onboarding Office 365. So you have to work out how you're going to get your PST files to Office 365. And there's a whole other project that goes on with that. But in terms of provisioning, in terms of single sign-on and access, that's nailed really quickly and really easily. So by far our most common and popular application in our application network of 4,000. And I'm just going to pause there because I'm trying to wrap up in the next 10 minutes or so. So I'm going to show you the next thing about any sort of cloud service, and it's been touched on quite a bit today, is transparency or trust. Now I'm used to my Mac keyboard. So we have a trust page, and it's been available since day one. We don't scrub it, we track our uptime. It's not behind a paywall or some sort of restriction. Anyone can access it, and you can track the uptime of the platform right back, all the way back to 2010 here. So that's all there. Any sort of disruption to service, we've got that documented on the trust page. If you are a customer and there was a disruption, we do provide you with root cause analysis plus plans to mitigate that in the future and things like that. We do not have any scheduled downtime. We release 48 updates a year without any scheduled downtime. Obviously, if you do have downtime, it's recorded on the trust page and it's visible to our customers. So with that, I wanted to switch gears and just talk a little bit about Australia and New Zealand, so just focusing on the New Zealand market. Just trying to find... I'm going to skip through the slides as promised. So Graham and I down here, Graham Pearson and I established OKTA ANZ on May 1, 2014. We have 47 customers across Australia and New Zealand. One of the larger customers in New Zealand is Xero. They've been a customer for quite a long time now. We've also got a number of larger customers in the region as well. Realestate.com.au, using it for the internal use case and access to enterprise applications in the cloud and on-premise for their employees and their contractors. Telstra Global, they're using it for their 3,000 strong workforce throughout Asia and Australia. And again, internal use case, accessing things like Workday, ServiceNow, Box, and a couple of others, as well as 20 or 30 on-premise applications. And I've spent nearly 15 years in identity and access management, and I've worked in many different organisations throughout New Zealand as well, Vodafone New Zealand, for example, and I can say that those identity and access management platforms that I helped put in place all those years ago would never get to 25 or 30 applications, and definitely not within a matter of weeks. So, you're looking at 3 weeks to get Telstra Global live, integrating into their existing multi-factor authentication, so that's RSA Secure ID, and obviously enabling all those users access to their cloud applications. And then a good example of an external use case. So OKTA is the platform. It's not just for the internals, but for citizen adoption, for customer adoption. Medibank Private is using it for 3.5 million external users. So these are members, these are healthcare members to access online services. So that's leveraging the OKTA Cloud Directory and enabling things like authentication, single sign-on, forgot your password, new user registration. So there's some examples of local case studies. And then some other much larger organisations that all publicly attest to this. OKTA, the time to value is really quick. Like for example, the top one, MGM Resorts in Las Vegas, 65,000 users, live in 3 weeks. They are a unique use case. They had quite a catalyst to get live very, very quickly, but still it's very, very possible. And this year we're going to have a user conference, Octane, in November in Las Vegas at MGM. So we're expecting, Graham was at the last one, we're expecting 2,000 customers there this year. Yeah,
more than 2,000 customers attend. There was about 1,500 last year, and then they're expecting over 2,000 this year. And that's just to really understand more obviously around our technology, but more importantly, what's next? What's the next step? We have a lot of venture capitalist guys who go there and talk about the next new trends for what's happening in the industry. So it's quite unique.
So nearly done. Gartner's very much validated the market segment, so that would be identity as a service. The very first Gartner quadrant or magic quadrant on this was June last year, so we're expecting to see another quadrant in June or July this year. You can see that OKTA has a lot of altitude there. It's a long way ahead of its competitors, and it's mainly because of the previous slide, our ability to execute. So while we don't necessarily have all the vision, that's mainly because we're quite a young company. So we're only established in 2009. Our founders established in 2009 and spent the next nearly 3 years building the platform. So we didn't have an active sales team until 2012. So since 2012 to now, we have 2,000 enterprise customers. So you can see that there's rapid uptake of this technology, and it's mainly because of time to value. When we go and talk to IT departments, it's normally the first product or implementation that they have done in the last 10 years that actually realises its business benefit, it delivers on time and it delivers to budget. So it's a very refreshing conversation that Graham and I are having with the different IT teams that we're working with in Australia and New Zealand. So I'm going to skip through this. I'd like to show you what it looks like to access OKTA when you're coming in from home or off network. So on the right here, and I had to record this just because I can't beam my phone up on this screen. On the right here I've got my BYOD device, this is my personal iPhone. I've got a app down here called OKTA Verify, and then I've got the login page for OKTA over here. Now if this was on network, it'd just be integrated Windows Authentication straight in, you wouldn't see a login page. So let's see if So I'm going to go and put my Active Directory username and password. So again, we're not issuing an additional username or additional password. We're leveraging the on-premise directory. Active Directory's credential there. We're not storing any of this. We're delegating authentication back to AD. Now the sign-on policy has fired and it's detected that we're off network and it's asking for an additional factor. Now I've got two options here. I can push a notification, so I'll push notification down to my device to invoke that secondary factor of authentication on the phone, or I can fat finger the 6-digit number, just like you would today with your RSA tokens or something like that. So we support both. So in this case, I'm going to click push to device, and then draw your attention to the device on the right-hand side. I'm just not going to pause it this time. Draw your attention to the device on the right-hand side. You'll see a push notification come down to the device on the right-hand side. And it's going to tell me all sorts of things. It's going to tell me where's the request coming from, who's the request coming from, what's the device the request is coming from, and then I'm going to choose to accept or reject it. So you'll see the push notification appear shortly on the top right, OKTA Verify, accept or deny. I click on it, it invokes the app, tells me the data, I click approve, and I'm not doing anything else than the web page in the back will dynamically reload, and I'll get prompted, I'll get logged in. So you're balancing the security controls of multi-factor authentication and delivering on the user experience. So we're actually delivering on both fronts there. Normally you have to sacrifice user experience if you're going to deliver the enhanced security. And you know, we can do that with a global sign-on policy for all access, or we can do that on per app access. So typically Workday administrators or HR administrators that have privileged access, we might prompt them for every access when they're off network for access to those critical applications. If you're a standard employee, like an OKTA employee like myself, the OKTA policy is if I'm off network, off the OKTA's network, I'm trying to get to any of my applications, I'm going to get prompted once a day. So then we persist the cookie down there to let us last for a whole day. And what I'm going to leave you with is a really, really nice bundle to help accelerate your Office 365 adoption. So if you're a customer, you're looking to go to Office 365, and you may be a little bit scared or wary of a big IT spend on a project, we can absolutely get you there very, very cost effectively. So this will give you OKTA, an OKTA instance, an OKTA tenant. It'll give you all the connectivity to Office 365, so that's access plus provisioning. It'll give you mobility support, so that could be just OKTA Mobile, which we haven't even touched on, down on the device. It's also, if you wanted it, and it's optional, OKTA Mobility Management, so that's where we can actually do things like compliance for Active Sync access and things like that. We can push down the Active Sync config to the device. We can push down the Office 365 calendar settings. We can even intercept the controller delete on your machine and push that password to the device as well if you wanted to do that. Because a classic use case is I change my controller delete on my machine, and then my iPad at home or one of the devices I don't have locks me out again, and it's this continual churn. So we can solve that, and we bundle in support as well. So it's a on-demand service that can get you to the cloud with Office 365.
Per day?
Beg your pardon?
$2 per user per day.
Per month, sorry. $2 per
I'll
month.
take it that.
Too cheap, that's all I can say.